Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Dravida Prabhu Ashtottara Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Dravida Acharya Ashtottara Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So we have a verse now. Did he write it? Didn't write it? Why not? Check it out. Is he in the kitchen? Jamal is cooking today. Okay. This is the problem. We have so much kitchen duties. We have so few devotees. And we don't have enough to practically conduct our life. Oh yeah. No verse. All right. You got a device? Can we close the doors so we don't have competing classes? I think we'll just go and sit in the kitchen. All right. Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamadiriyet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Damodar, oh, you have your device? Okay, we all keyed up because we're about to start. The verse number is 4, 8, 23. 4, 8, 23. All right. On this 25th day of November 2018 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest, text number 23. Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad Dukkat chidham te mrigayami kanchana Yom ringyate hastagruhita padmaya Shriyetadayar angava mrigyamanaya Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad Dukkat chidham te mrigayami kanchana Yom rigyate hastagruhita padmaya Shriyetadayarangava mrigyamanaya Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad Dukkat chidham te mrigayami kanchana Yom rigyate hastagruhita padmaya Shriyetadayarangava mrigyamanaya Damodar. Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad Dukkat chidham te mrigayami kanchana Yom rigyate hastagruhita padmaya Shriyetadayarangava mrigyamanaya. Go ahead.
Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad
Nanyam tatak padma palasha lochanad
Dukkat chidam te mrigayami kanchana
Dukkat chidham te mrigayami kanchana
Yom rigyate hastagruhita padmaya
Yom rigyate hastagruhita padmaya Shriyetadayarangava mrigyamanaya. Word by words. Na anyam, no others. Tataha, therefore. Padma palasha lochanat, from the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dukkat chidam, one who can mitigate others' difficulties. Te, your. Mrigayami, I am searching after. Kanchana, anyone else. Yaha, who. Mrigyate, searches. Hastagruhita padmaya, taking a lotus flower in his hand. Shriya, the goddess of fortune. Itarai, by others. Anga, my dear boy. Vimrigyamanaya, one who is worshipped. Translation. My dear Dhruva, this is Suniti continuing to speak. My dear Dhruva, as far as I am concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek the pleasure of the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself, with a lotus flower in her hand, is always ready to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Suniti pointed out herewith that the benediction we receive from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that received from the demigods are not on an equal level. Foolish persons say that no matter whom one worships, one will get the same result, but actually that is not a fact. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that benedictions received from the demigods are all temporary and are meant for the less intelligent. In other words, In other words, because... Okay, where was I?
In other words, demigods were materialistic conditioned souls.
Cannot be permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita is also said. Okay. In other words, because the demigods are all materialistic conditioned souls, although they are situated in very exalted positions, their benedictions cannot be permanent. Permanent benediction is spiritual benediction, since a spirit soul is eternal. It is also said in the Bhagavad Gita that only persons who have lost their intelligence go to worship the demigods. Therefore, Suniti told her son that he should not seek the mercy of the demigods, but should directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to mitigate his misery. Material opulences are controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his different potencies, and specifically the Goddess of Fortune. Therefore, those who are after material opulences seek the pleasure or mercy of the Goddess of Fortune. Even the highly placed demigods worship the Goddess of Fortune. But the Goddess of Fortune, Mahalakshmi herself, is always seeking the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone, therefore, who takes to the worship of the Supreme Lord automatically receives the blessings of the Goddess of Fortune. At this stage of his life, Dhruva Maharaj was seeking material opulences, and his mother advised rightly that even for material opulences, it is better to worship not the demigods, but the Supreme Lord. Although a pure devotee does not seek benedictions from the Supreme Lord for material advancement, it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that pious persons go to the Lord even for material benedictions. A person who goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for material gain is gradually purified in association with the Supreme Lord. Thus he becomes free from all material desires and is elevated to the platform of spiritual life. Unless one is raised to the spiritual platform, it is not possible for him to completely transcend all material contamination. Suniti, the mother of Dhruva, was a far-seeing woman, and therefore she advised her son to worship the Supreme Lord and no one else. The Lord is described herein as lotus-eyed, Padma Palasha Lochanat. When a person is fatigued, if he sees a lotus flower, all his fatigue can be immediately reduced to nil. Similarly, when an aggrieved person sees the lotus face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, immediately all his grief is reduced. A lotus flower is also an insignia in the hand of Lord Vishnu, as well as in the hand of the Goddess of Fortune. The worshippers of the Goddess of Fortune and Lord Vishnu together are certainly very opulent in all respects, even in the material life. The Lord is sometimes described as Shiva Vidinchinutam, which means that Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma also offer their respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, Suniti's winding up her instructions in this, this is the last of her verses. And basically she's reiterating what Suruchi said, that if you want mitigation of your problem, then you need to find out and search out the Lord, and He alone can solve your problem. So here is more or less a similar idea as we had the last verse. At least in terms of the purport, also Prabhupada is stressing the need to worship Krishna exclusively as opposed to the demigods. So here the idea is emphasizing the worship of Vishnu as opposed to the worship of Lakshmi. There are many Lakshmi worshippers in this world, either personally or symbolically. Almost everyone is worshipping money to some degree. But there's no permanent solution to problems by worshipping Lakshmi, because Lakshmi is chanchala. She's coming and she's going, and so it's just a lot of anxiety. The anxiety is throughout, like in this present age, people are so anxious about money because things have changed. The oligarchs and the capitalists who own things have put a squeeze on the vast mass of people in America by shipping all kinds of jobs abroad and exploiting. So this is what people are in anxiety about. to a large degree because they're materially oriented. So devotees who take shelter of Krishna, they find that their material needs shrink down because you don't need to be part of the whole thing. Just like the amount of money that you save over the years on haircuts is enormous. Thousands and thousands of dollars. That's just one thing. What about the wardrobe? So this is one of the great benedictions, is that your needs shrink down, and Krishna provides for those. You need something to eat, you need a roof over your head, you need some clothes, the basic necessities are provided, and you have your spare time and your energy for actually cultivating spiritual life and moving in the direction of the ultimate value of things. So the benedictions, everyone's looking for benedictions. You ever hear this Ashirvad? Ashirvad is like is a Hindi word or Sanskrit word, and it means looking for some benediction, like some benediction you want. And generally it's some material benediction. But we're looking for also benediction. Everyone is praying for something. Even if they don't know they're consciously praying, there's some aspiration in whatever they do. And long-term or short-term. So in Krishna consciousness, we come into contact with the Shastra, with Krishna through the Shastra, through the Gurus, through the Sadhus, through the other devotees. And we're directed in aspiring for the proper thing. This famous verse Prabhupada quote all the time of Prahlad Maharaj. Nate vadu svartakatim hi Vishnum. They, who's the they? The previous verse. Those who are died in the wool materialists, such as Hiranyakashipu. They can't become Krishna conscious, even if they come in touch with devotees, because they've taken a vow. Their mind is fixed on enjoying sense gratification. Griha vratanam, the vow of griha. So matir na Krishna padataksvata mito abhipadyeti griha vratanam. Even if they meet with devotees on their own, they may open the book. But if they keep that mentality of trying to enjoy the sense, then they're just punak punascharvita charvananam, they're chewing the chewed, and their mind is fixed on that. So such people don't know what the real goal of life is. And so they want some benedictions from a powerful man, from a politician, or from some demigod, but it's all part of the idea of I'm the controller and the enjoyer and the exploiter, and how can I maintain that position or increase it. So if you go to the demigods, they're also conditioned. They're devotees, but they're sakama devotees. They're devotees with material desires. And so the benedictions that they can give, since they're jivas, are limited. Famously, Hiranyakashipu went to Brahma, the most powerful demigod, for the ultimate benediction of immortality. But Brahma said, I can't give you that, because I don't have it myself. So Hiranyakashipu, he became too clever by half. In other words, he outwitted himself by trying to get the immortality through the back door, but Lord Nrsimha was too clever for him. And he kept Brahma's blessings intact, but still killed him. So, Srila Prabhupada is making the point here that what is a real benediction? What should we pray for? That's an all-important question. And we're trained from reading the Bhagavad Gita that all material benedictions are temporary. Antavatu palam tesham tadvavoltyalpamedasam. He gives this verse at the end of a little lesson about why you shouldn't worship the demigods. Only those whose intelligence, whose knowledge has been stolen by lusty desires, worship someone other than me. Because it's kames taistai vritti jnana papadyante anya devata. And we went through this, I think, yesterday, maybe in the evening, how he's showing there that Krishna is in the heart. If you want to worship something, you want to direct your conscience a certain way, Krishna will give you faith in that. He will encourage you, and you'll think you're going in the right direction. So yo-yo yanyam tanam bhakta, whatever you want to worship, whatever you want to worship, you'll need faith, otherwise why worship? So Krishna makes that faith strong. And that's going on all over the world. They have atheist churches now. They come together just for the sake of coming together, because they were envious of the churches where people would come and sing. So they sing, I don't know what they sing, some atheist song. But that's an extreme example. But people are in India. So many people worshiping the demigods, looking for temporary benedictions. But they're fitting into this category of Alpametasam, not very intelligent. So Srila Prabhupada has given us a chance, even though we're completely, growing up alienated from the Vedic culture, there's no idea, but still, by making his books available and devotees available to society, he's giving people a chance, if they want to learn what's really worth striving for. And what's really worth striving for, this is the old question of sadhya and sadhana. Exactly, what does that mean?
Sadhana means to attain the goal, and sadhya means
The goal, exactly. So this is not a concept just in bhakti circles. This is there everywhere. People have something they want, some goal that they're looking for, and there's a means to get it. Many people think, education, I have to have education, get a good job, so I'll have enough money to live comfortably. And to that, they spend so much time and so much anxiety. Throughout high school, I was always in anxiety, studying for tests, staying up all night, writing papers. And the whole idea was, you'll get into a good school, you'll get into a good school. I got into a good school. By the time I got into the school, I didn't care about the education. The war was weighing down on me, the Vietnam War, it was all pervading. And anyway, luckily that didn't work out. I dropped out. Or I could have gone on the track to be one of the millions and millions of teachers or engineers, doctors, lawyers, whatever. So I was saved from that. But the point was, for years, I worked with that aspiration. Like sadhya was the high grades, SAT grades, and acceptance into college. In those days, you can get a really nice scholarship and pay most of your tuition. I got into a full scholarship to Chicago University, almost like an Ivy League school, but it was like dust to me at that point. So, but that was my goal. I achieved it, but it didn't fulfill me. It didn't really. So people have that, but in Krishna consciousness, you learn what is really worth striving for. This is why Krishna, he undercuts the whole material enterprise at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. He's teaching the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter. Because if your life, if this is just one small chapter in a very long book, this individual life that we're leading now, then what's the point of just dealing with this one chapter? What about your future life? What about your next life? What about birth, old age, disease, and death? So Arjuna was fixed on the bodily concept. And Krishna immediately broke him out of that with that first lesson in the 2nd chapter, the 20 verses on the soul. Because as soon as you realize, I have a future that's infinite, I have to think about what's going to be best for that platform. What about my next life? What about my future life? What about my eternal life? So this is an opening of the consciousness through the association with Krishna, through his words and through his representatives. And Prabhupada is doing that through every purport here. Revolutionary. He's dismissing here, as he does so many places, as Krishna does in the Bhagavad Gita, huge amount of culture and millions of people worshipping the gods for something material. There's huge industry and cultural events, and I don't know how much time, most of you haven't spent too much time in Calcutta and in Mayapur, but I've gone maybe a dozen times. And when you go to Navadvip, you realize there's a heavy presence of Kali worship there. There's this one huge banyan tree has been growing forever, and there's a temple weaved in on it, and it's all Kali, 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 Kali. Right there in Mayapur. That's worship of the material energy, So it's completely dismissed. It's a total waste of time. If you succeed in getting her mercy, you'll get some material benediction, and that'll just keep you buried more in the material world. So here the contrast is between Lakshmi and Vishnu. People worship Lakshmi for benedictions, some material good fortune or fortune itself, but she worships Vishnu. So Lakshmi is not going to stay with you, even if you get the benedictions. It's chanchala. It's like the money, thing. Even the billionaires are worried. What's happening to my dollars? It's just, anxiety personified. Whereas you can see that the ideal that we have in our literature is renunciation, living very, very simply, minimally, for what's necessary for your prosecution of devotional service. to live materially comfortably enough, but the Goswamis showed the extreme example. And yet they weren't, Prabhupada, I've heard this lecture so many times, where he's describing his experience in World War II, the famous scene where he didn't leave Calcutta and the bombings came, the Japanese were bombing, And Prabhupada was seeing it as Krishna's universal form, he says, What I learned from working on Bhakti True Swami's memoirs book, The Ocean of Mercy, is that Prabhupada went out on Harinam with other members of the Gaudiya Math that were there in Calcutta at the time. And perfect situation. If the bomb falls, we all go back to Godhead. If not, we're on Harinam. So that's the safest place in the world is Harinam Sankirtan. So that, Prabhupada but even in, Calcutta, which has so much presence of the Kali worship and everything, the Gaudiya Math was preaching there heavily at that time. So now, the principle that Krishna also gives in the Bhagavad Gita, okay, look, if you want some material benediction, at least come to me. Chaturbhadha bhajante mamjana sukritanona, those who are sukriti, who are pious enough, who have enough bhakti pious credits, there's different kinds of piety. If they're distressed, they'll come to me. Now, what do most people do? They don't go to Krishna. They look for some material solution to the problem, right? Which just creates more problems. Pharmaceuticals. It's incredible. They come up with these pharmaceuticals that cure this, cure that, cure the depression and so forth. But then they have all of the side effects. Be careful, this can ruin your liver. One of the side effects, I swear, they have death as one of the side effects. This is dukkha aushadam tadapi dukkam, the herbal remedy, aushadam, which is for the dukkha, it makes more dukkha. And not just on an actual medical level, but in the whole material world it works that way. When you're simply focused on manipulating the material energy to solve your problems, either to get more pleasure or to ward off the pains, you stay entangled in the material energy. And then ultimately, we have the situation with climate change. The whole thing is running on these fossil fuels. And it's very difficult to withdraw from that, because the guys who are at the top, who are running everything, they're mad, They have one thing in mind, and that is increasing the bottom line. And anything that threatens that, it came out that Exxon, they knew about this long ago. In the 80s it started to come out. They knew about it. They're always on top of it. They got the scientists. But instead of changing their business model or gradually moving, toward green energy, they had a huge campaign to cover it up. They paid engineers to write papers, putting doubt. They're still doing that, so that they would continue to make their billions and billions and billions. It's insanity, because they themselves, or at least their children or grandchildren, are going to have to face this catastrophe of climate change, ecocide. It's happening already. So that it's a great example for us to use in preaching, to show how that's exactly what is mentioned in the Bhagavatam and in all of the literature, is that when you look to this world to try to solve your problem, first of all, you're neglecting the main problem, which is birth, death, old age, and disease. But even to mitigate your material suffering in this world, you simply get more and more and more entangled with the material energy, and you don't solve anything. So Dhruva. Now, so Krishna says, okay, then come to me if you're distressed, in search of money, curious, or the best is in search of knowledge. Why? Because if you come to me, you'll become purified. That's what Dhruva's pastime is all about, a large part of it. Is that he came with an extreme material desire, but because he got the blessings of Narada Muni, the process that he was taught was putting him in touch with Krishna. And eventually, by the time he got the darshan of Vishnu, he had lost that desire already. It's that famous verse, Vaman Kritatosmi Vadanglayache. I was situated in extreme penance and austerity to get a certain position greater than my grandfather's grandfather or great-grandfather. But now I realize that position is no more valuable than broken glass compared to the divine gem of your darshan. So I don't want anything. Svaman, O Lord, Svaman Kratatos Varanglayache. I'm not begging you for any vada. Vada is a benediction anymore. This is enough, just seeing you. But because he had prayed for it, he wanted it, he got it anyway. But while he was 35,000 years, but he was, completely Krishna conscious at the time. So Dhruva is like kind of the acharya for that. And we experience it all the time as devotees. This 259 verse, I remember reading that verse, said, I'm experiencing even now, even as a bhakta, how if you really get into Krishna consciousness, your desires change, your heart changes. The things that you were so much involved with before, it always happens, almost always in the old days, people would come, they had so many friends outside, then, one or two friends would visit, but it didn't compute, they didn't know this guy. Why don't you come out and let's have a party? I said, no, we're good, I don't know, no more of that. You lose your friends, your outside friends, if they're not ready to really, because they're involved, they're entangled in what you used to be entangled in. So Dhruva showed an extreme example of that, that your heart changes. So that's why Krishna encourages somehow or other, fix your mind on me, and you become purified. That's the idea. Now Prabhupada, he focuses on this lotus thing. This is nice, because there's so much lotus, I worked with the word so much, and somehow I had occasion to look up lotus in the dictionary, Sanskrit dictionary, and I found like 28 words that mean lotus, and that was just, it was probably more. It's very important in the culture. So Prabhupada makes the point that just seeing a lotus will mitigate one's fatigue, There's an effect that is there. You come upon a pool of lotuses. The swans like to swim there. The other birds don't like. The animals and the plants, they have their effects according to what mode they're in and whatever like that. So lotus is so significant. And similarly, when a grieved person sees the lotus face of the Lord, immediately all his grief is reduced. So you can see, you come before the deities. Why do people keep coming back? Because the deities are so enticing. They're so compassionate and blissful and beautiful. Just to see the form of the Lord is a very healing experience. And so what to speak of, trying to be Krishna conscious and associating through the sound, which you can have anytime. And that's what great devotees constantly worship or constantly chant, so they're always in association with the Lord. And through the sound, you also come to know the form and the qualities and the pastimes. And you can be with Krishna every moment. That's the idea. Now, and this, who's worshiping who? If Lakshmi is worshiping Vishnu, why should I worship Lakshmi instead of Vishnu? Let me worship Vishnu. She's worshiping Vishnu. There's a verse about Radharani. How's it go? I forget the Sanskrit, but it says, though youthful goddesses, adored by all, adore the goddess Shri, she lacks Radha's beauty, youth, and every other quality. So you've got three levels there. You have these goddesses, apsaras, you may worship them because they're, angels, they can give you, but they're worshiping Radharani. They're worshiping Lakshmi. So let me worship Lakshmi. But Lakshmi is worshiping Radha. So let me worship Radha. So the youthful goddesses adored by all adore the goddess Shri. She lacks Shri Radha's beauty, youth, and every other quality. So when it comes to lover sports with Radha, no one can compete. May Radhika bestow me the service of her lotus feet. So so the same idea is here, is that you're worshiping the gods are worshiping Lakshmi worshiping Vishnu. Let's just go straight to the source and worship Vishnu. And of course, the Vishnu forms, they want to serve Krishna. That's why you have Dravida Acharya, who's after all Mahavishnu. I was just reading that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the summary of the pastime in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. That Dravida Acharya was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So he's on the level of Lord Chaitanya's guru, Ishvara Puri. And so Lord Chaitanya was always giving him deference, plus he's older, And Advaita didn't like that. He wanted to be the servant. He wanted so, he started preaching Maya about philosophy. And Lord Chaitanya understood what was going on. So he ran over there and he started beating him. and Advaita goes into ecstasy at last. He's treating me properly. So who's worshiping whom and who wants to worship whom is a very important point. So we want to worship Krishna. And to do that, we worship those who are directly worshiping Krishna as the Supreme, the spiritual master, and the great acharyas. And in that way, everything is. That's why Prabhupada quotes this Shiva Virinchinu Tam verse. This is from 11th Canto. These are two verses that are amazing, and Prabhupada would quote them sometimes. And they're right before or after, I forget, the Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna verse about Lord Chaitanya. So this one is all about the lotus feet of the Mahapurush, and Mahapurush is understood to be Mahaprabhu also. It says, Dhyayam sadapati pavagnam abhishta doham tirtaspadam shiva virinchinutam sharanyam vrityatihan panatapala bababdipotam vande mahapurushate charanara. So I offer obeisances unto the lotus feet, lotus is featured here, of the Mahapurush of the Supreme Lord. And then he gives meditation. Deyam sada, they're always to be meditated on. Padibhavagnam, they destroy all pains in this world, sinful reactions and suffering. Abhishtadoham, and they award all results for your spiritual aspirations. Abhishtadoham. Tirtaspadam, they are a veritable place of pilgrimage. And Shiva Virinchunatam, even Lord Shiva and Brahma and the other demigods are always bowing down to them. Sharanyam, taking shelter. Vrityati Han, they destroy all of the sufferings of the devotees. Pranatapala, and here he's directly addressing Pranatapala, you who are the protector of the surrendered souls. Bhavabdipotam, the boat to take us across the ocean of birth and death. And Vande Mahapurush, say, oh great Lord, Supreme Lord, I offer obeisance to your lotus feet. And the next verse is actually even more far out. It actually can be interpreted for 3 avatars, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Ramchandra. And this one is Chakva Sudushtya Sarepsata Raja Lakshmim, Dharmishta Arya Vichasaya Tagara Ranyam, Mayamragam Dayite Epsandaman Vadavad, Vande Mahapurushate Charanavindam. I offer my obeisance unto your lotus feet, O Lord. And it says, who you Chakva Sudushtya Sarepsata Raja Lakshmim, you gave up that which is very difficult to give up, Sudushtya, Sura Ipsita Raja Lakshmi, the opulence that is desired even by the demigods. And Dharmishta Arya Vichasa, being situated in Dharma, you obeyed the words of the Aryan, of the Brahman, Yadagada Ranyam, and went to the forest. And Mayamragam Dayiti Ipsanaman Vadava. Now this is most suitable, I think, for Ram. Mayamragam, the Mayak deer, the illusory deer, Dayite Ipsidam, which was desired by your beloved, Anvadavad, you ran after. You see? So, but the Acharyas have interpreted this for Krishna as well, and as Rama. Let's see if I can remember how. So Krishna, he left Mathura. He was born as the son of a Kshatriya, but he left there and went to the forest. So it's Chakva Sudushtya Jasurepsata Rajalab. You gave up the opulence of Mathura, and you even gave up the opulence of the spiritual world, you could think, and he came to live in this forest, this simple village. And then Dharmishta Arya Vichasa. How is that? I think I forget Yadagada Ranyam. But then Mayamragam, you are like in the hands of Radharani, you are like a little toy animal. Mayamragam, Anvadavad, and you're always running after. But Lord Chaitanya is running after the souls who are like animals in the hands of Mahamaya, and he's running after them, trying to save them. And he also left for the forest. On the words of the Brahman. The Brahman predicted or cursed him and said, you won't have any material happiness. You remember that? And he was jubilant. He started dancing. And he went to the forest, means he took sannyas. And he gave up his nice family home at that time with Vishnu Priya and his mother. So that's in the 11th canto. You can look it up. Okay, any questions, comments at this time? All right, let me read the translation again, then I'll try to answer. My dear Dhruva, as far as I am concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek the pleasure of the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself, with a lotus flower in her hand is always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord. Okay.
So since it's relevant.
I'll repeat it.
Since it's relevant in the timing right now, we were saying before that in the heavenly planets, the damsels worship Lakshmi,
Mm-hmm.
but Lakshmi worships Radharani. So.
Well, Lakshmi here is worshiping Vishnu, but
Vishnu,
yeah.
And so why do the gopis worship Katyayani?
Well, Katyayani is a manifestation of the Maya Devi. It's like it's like Durga form. What's going on with those Leela is that they're even though they're following like ordinary Vedic culture, just like Nanda was worshiping Indra, it's a dovetailed. It becomes part of Krishna Leela. So, why are they worshiping? That's the point. They're worshiping Katyayani to get Krishna as their husband. So it's just part of the culture that's being also subsumed into Krishna Leela. So that's the idea. They're simple ladies, they're trained in these things, and in villages, they worship Indra, they worship Katyayani. But Krishna's using that, like he used the Indra Jagya, to make a big point. You don't have to worship any gods, and we should worship Govardhan. Everything came out of it. So with the Katyayani Vrata, what do? For a month you worship, you go into, you bathe, and while bathing you chant the mantras. So the bathing, that set up the Vastra Harana pastime, the stealing of the clothes. And their vow was actually completed then, because they became virtual wives by being naked before. So that's okay. Just like Lord Chaitanya himself, when he went to South India, all these Shiva temples. So he visited them. And he was chanting to Shiva. But what was he chanting? There's prayers, Murari Gupta wrote a book. What is it? Chaitanya Charita, I think. And he recorded some of these prayers. Oh, you're chanting so nicely the name of Govinda. Please give me love of Govinda. It was all bhakti. So the whole idea is that, the Lord or his acharyas, they figure out ways that they're already into something. How can we dovetail it into Krishna consciousness? And that's what this Katyayani thing is. We're in the Katyayani Vyata. Are you going to do it?
I was reading something interesting also last night in Srimad Bhagavatam. We're describing the characteristics of the different varnas. Brahman and Kshatriya. And it was saying that one of the characteristics of a Vaishya is they're expert at worshiping the demigods.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that would be not Vaishnav Varnashram culture.
Yeah, that's right. That's worshiping the demigods because, like Indra, because they have so much, they're trying to grow food and everything like that. Yeah, that's a general point. And those characteristics, we don't really carry them forward. It's like the Vanaprastha, goes out and he just eats the grain that he can find. It's like, let's go to Sprout, see what's falling out of the dumpster. No, that's not, we don't try to dovetail that. But this was like, for millions of years ago written, the characteristics. The main idea is that there's a structure there that Krishna set up. And the whole idea is to move toward renunciation, in your life, and see that rather than entanglement. But it's it's a way of society working. But right at the beginning, the second chapter, we learned that atak pumbha dujas varna ashrama vagasha svanustitasya dharmasya sangsade haritoshanam. That the perfection of this varnashram system, if you're really nicely doing your duties, is to satisfy Hari. Without that in the center, the thing all goes apart like centripetal force. The Brahmins become corrupt; they lord it over the others. The Vaishyas just get into money and they become greedy. The Shudras are never satisfied, and they get into drugs, and it just becomes a mess.
Another interesting thing was that in the characteristics of a Sudra, they're saying they're always clean. It's quite funny. So then Prabhupada would say in Kali Yuga they're not even Sudras.
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much.